Grand Theft Auto 6 is about to become the most immersive video game ever made in history, and I also say the best game being made. I mean it and truly believe it, but myself and you watching too may think that as well. But here's what you don't really realize. Rockstar didn't just make a new Grand Theft Auto, they've patterned 9 of the craziest advanced technology that we have never seen in a game before. Stuff like NPCs using AI to become smarter, and Rockstar Games using a technique to block cheaters from cheating in their online mode. There are also many more insane published patterns that will blow your mind, which we're going to go in depth in this video, so make sure you watch to the end. It is also important to note that these patterns that I explained in this video aren't 100% officially confirmed to be in GTA 6, but it's more than likely they will be. So take this with a grain of salt, and without further ado, let's get right into the first pattern. So here is the first pattern, and it has a bunch of numbers which says US 1168485552 B2. This sounds like a cheat code in the game, but I have one thing I need to know. Earlier I said that Rockstar Games find these patterns, which is technically true to some extent. It just says Take-Two Interactive as their own Rockstar, but Rockstar actually develops the technology. With that cleared up, this pattern, called System and Method for Virtual Navigation in a gaming environment, introduces a hierarchical course graph level navigation and real-time decision-making neural networks. So instead of NPCs following a computer program that gives a fixed pathfinding from point A to point B, this new system from the pattern allows NPCs to think at 2 different levels: the overall route to their destination and different variables that the NPC will react to, which can affect how they reach their destination. This means that rather than moving in a fixed line, the NPC can take alternate routes and even adjust direction dynamically based on the variables. So what are some of the variables that can affect NPCs en route to the destination? Here are some that are very likely to exist in Grand Theft Auto 6. So traffic during busy work times, road blockage, which also applies to police cars during a chase with another NPC, road exits or sudden lane changes, and lastly, weather conditions like thunderstorms and flooding. All of this makes NPCs more intelligent and far more realistic than in GTA 5, but it doesn't stop there. NPCs can also be affected by the day-to-day roles and situations. For example, if an NPC is late to work, they might drive more aggressively, take riskier routes, ignore the law, and cause more mayhem to other NPCs. This could also be impacted by things like drink driving, where the NPC's state impacts how they drive, react, and make decisions on the road. Overall, this pattern is groundbreaking and could make the world of Grand Theft Auto 6 more realistic than ever before. Now that we've explored the first pattern, let's move on to the next pattern, which is even more impressive. So this pattern is called System and Method for Game Object and Environment Generation. Since GTA 6 is expected to be much bigger with a larger map, designing every enterable building and outside environment with unique assets will be extremely time consuming and really hard for developers. As a game developer myself, I know how hard it is. However, this is where the pattern comes in and introduces a method that automatically generates interiors and environments based on keywords that match the location type. For example, the pattern explains that these parameters can be as simple as an on or off switch to control whether certain assets appear at all. This means if a TV isn't needed in a room, the parameter can be set to off. The system can also control quantities, such as placing full cans of soup on the shelf or adjust visual details like how clean or dirty a door looks. For larger areas that require a high number of assets, artists would have to first create the core props, characters, clothing, and vehicles. These assets are then grouped into keywords such as old, wore down, high-end, and new, allowing the new system to automatically place a lot of assets in locations that match the environment. While Rockstar can place these assets automatically, the pattern also mentions that these parameters can be edited. This suggests that Rockstar may introduce a new graphical user interface menu that allows players to customize their apartments in far more ways than in GTA 5. Also, one important note is that Red Dead Redemption 2 already used a similar system to generate unique clothing for pedestrians. In Grand Theft Auto 6, the same approach is going to be applied in many more and different ways. So that's it for this pattern. Let's move on to the next one. The next pattern focuses on the new GTA Online 2.0 and it's called System and Method for Session Management in a multiplayer network gaming environment. When I first read this pattern, I was really shocked, and once I explain it to you, you probably will be too. Most of you watching this video probably have played GTA Online. I know that when a lobby reaches the max of 30 players, it sometimes has performance issues and a lot of problems. Adding more players using the old technology would make the game session literally impossible to play. So Rockstar could have solved this by decreasing the player count in a session or reducing graphical detail, but instead they created a new system. This pattern introduces a method where the game world is split into multiple sections, with each section having its own session. As players in the session move to another session, the transition is completely seamless, which means there are no loading screen. Because of this and a larger game map like GTA 6, it could allow Rockstar to increase the player count in a world while keeping the same performance and detail. For example, imagine the GTA 5 map was divided into 4 sections and each section could support up to 20 players. Instead of one section that is capped at 30 players, GTA Online 2.0 could now support up to 80 players at the same time without losing any performance at all. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But there's one question. If there are 80 people in one session, how does Rockstar handle everything in the back end? Stuff like mission rewards, purchases, money being updated and player progression. Well, Rockstar has answered this with another patent, closely related to the one we discussed before, but this one focuses on transaction management. This patent is called System and Method for Managing Transactions in a Multiplayer Network Gaming Environment. And what this patent does is splits those bigger servers into smaller ones that are specialized for specific uses. Some examples in this patent include handling of game inventory, matchmaking for multiplayer games, and lastly, keeping track of in-game purchases and monetary practices. If this pattern is included, which is more than likely, it would make everything really smooth on GTA Online 2.0 and eliminate every other backend issue that was on GTA Online. For example, stuff like transaction error delays when purchasing stuff, which was really frustrating and still happens to this day. It would also be way harder for console players to exploit the game through glitches that weren't supposed to happen. Stuff like car duplication glitches or the famous casino glitch. If you know, you know. To finish talking about this, these two intellect patterns essentially function as the front end and back end of the system, forming the main infrastructure behind the new GTA Online 2.0 for GTA 6. The next pattern we're going to talk about is especially interesting, and in my personal opinion, it might be the most exciting one I am going to talk about in this video. This pattern is called Method and Apparatus for Preventing Cheating in a Video Game Environment by providing obfuscated game variables. As in the title, this pattern aims to fix cheating in GTA Online 2.0, because if anyone who has played GTA 5 Online on PC, there are many cheaters that just have God mode and teleportation acts. What I'm trying to say is that these cheats just ruin the player experience in a multiplayer game of this scale. But the big question is, how do these cheats actually work? So let me just explain how cheats work in GTA 5 in the simplest way. So most cheats work by accessing the game's memory and finding the most important variables, such as the player's health, the world's X, Y, and Z position, and in-game currency. Once these are found, cheat developers can use various techniques to manipulate the memory and change how the variables work. To really understand it, let's give you an example of how God mode works. Say a cheat developer finds a player's health memory address at 0x2243f. What the cheat developer would do then is monitor the address and then force that value to stay the same way by writing some good code that does this. This means if someone has God mode and you damage them, they won't actually lose health, because the cheat menu will just rewrite that value to the original memory address, which is 0x2243f. Because of this, there's no real way to counter these cheats in game. They are just unstoppable. But here's where things change in GTA 6 Online. Rockstar has invented a brand new technology which has been patented to fix these issues in a way that is so smart. So the first thing that this pattern does is change a game memory address of important variables at random intervals. So say someone has found a memory address to control how much money they have and tries to manipulate it by giving themselves $50 million. This wouldn't work in GTA 6 Online, because that memory address would just change at different times, meaning the cheat menu the developer made was just useless, as it would be modifying the wrong memory address of the health. This is also done with other important variables such as world position. This pattern also says that these variables are encrypted in a special way. This means when a variable needs to be updated by the game, stuff like money, the variable is quickly decrypted so it can change and then immediately encrypted right away. This is so a cheater doesn't find these values and modify them right away. However, why this is good for the game, Rockstar has to be really smart about this, because they can't encrypt every variable because it is very performance intensive. So therefore it might slow down performance, especially on consoles or PCs which don't have much processing power. To wrap this all up, this pattern is going to stop cheaters. Not literally of course, but it would be 100 times harder to cheat on GTA 6 Online. The next technology is a new animation system pattern, and it is called a System and Method for Virtual Character Locomotion. When reading about the information about the pattern, it seems Rockstar had developed a library of small building blocks of character movements. So instead of creating a separate animation tree for each movement that was set for GTA 5, which was time consuming and hard to manage, this new system allows Rockstar to combine movements dynamically. That might be hard to understand, so let me give you an example. Imagine a character walking in the rain, feeling tired or getting injured. Instead of creating separate animations for each of these situations from scratch like they did in GTA 5, Rockstar can use these building blocks to combine their movements naturally, so the character reacts realistically to different scenarios. Overall, this means GTA 6 will have more lifelike animations and react differently to everything, stuff like the weather, the energy level and the injuries. This therefore can make GTA feel more real. Also, the GTA 6 leaks gives us real proof that this system is already being used and confirmed. In the leaked footage, we can see the developer debug animation logs on screen where Jason is crouching with his gun and shielding his head. This is what the debug animation logs said, and it confirms different building blocks are being used, such as combat, crouch, left wide, long gun, under fire and move. This shows how characters move when under fire and crouching when holding an assault rifle, while moving the left part of his body and looking forward in a wide manner. These animations don't only affect Jason and Lucia in GTA 6, but also affect non-player characters. While I can't directly show this from the leaks, I can describe it to you. A police officer will gradually adjust his stance and cover height based on the height of the wall in front of him. This makes a police officer react dynamically instead of using a fixed animation. However, Rockstar has also patented another closely related animation system that builds on this technology. This pattern is called System and Method for Runtime Retargeting. While the locomotion pattern decides how the characters move, runtime retargeting decides who that movement is applied to. This allows the same character to be automatically adjusted in real time for characters for different heights, body types and proportions. This is applied to every NPC. In my opinion, based on both pattern information and the clips of the leak, the animations in Grand Theft Auto 6 will be incredible and amazing. The next technology I want to talk about is another insanely impressive pattern Rockstar has fired, and it's called System and Method for Fast Simulation and Visualization of Sparse Fluids. Now this pattern sounds very technical, but it's a really easy concept to understand. This pattern is all about realistically simulating fluids like rain, sweat, blood and water in GTA 6, but in a way that's fast enough to run in a massive world. So how does this system work? What Rockstar does is take a 3D surface like a character's skin and temporarily flattens it in a 2D grid. Each part of that grid tracks how much fluid it presents, how gravity affects it and which direction it should flow next. This allows fluids to naturally slide, drip, pour and move across surfaces instead of behaving like simple visual effects. Once the complex math calculations are done, the results are mapped back onto the 3D world in real time. The system also updates at a lower simulation rate while still rendering smoothly, meaning Rockstar can achieve highly realistic fluid behavior without sacrificing performance. One example of this system in action is right at the start of trailer 2, where you can actually see sweat dripping down on Jason. Overall, this pattern allows GTA 6 to have dynamic, lifelike fluids that react naturally to everything in the GTA 6 open world. Finally, we now get to the last pattern, and it's called the method and apparatus for enhanced graphics rendering in a video game environment. In simple terms, this pattern aims to fix some of the problems of traditional graphics rendering systems to make graphics renderings more efficient. This will therefore make GTA 6 more realistic and have more visuals that are appealing to the eye. The first system shows how characters and vehicles interact with different terrains. In snow or sand, the ground deforms easily, leaving visible footprints and tire tracks. In contrast, grassy terrains doesn't show much evidence of movement since it's less malleable. Also, footprints and vehicle tracks can also fade or disappear over time, adding a dynamic and realistic touch to the environment. It's also worth noting that this terrain deformation system was also implemented in Red Dead Redemption 2, but it's expected to be more advanced in GTA 6. Another graphical improvement Rockstar is focusing on is how light and shading are applied to objects, which can create darker areas, enhanced contrast, and more detailed surfaces. Rockstar has implemented this so that certain assets stand out and also mirrors real-life settings. Talking about lighting, this pattern also talks about how light bounces off surfaces instead of just hitting them directly. Rockstar does this by using a bounce map to estimate the light reflection more accurately and then implement it in the map. And lastly, we are going to talk about material tinting. This just allows a single object model to have multiple variations in color, metalness, lighting, or layers like mud, snow or dust, so each instance looks unique and more realistic. Overall, all this pattern does is make everything realistic to world life settings. So that's it for today's video. I post GTA 6 and GTA 5 content. And if you enjoyed this video and learned something new about GTA 6's pattern technology, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. Have a good day, week or year. Also, here are more 2 videos that may intrigue you.